Let's start with Gary Bettman, because I know you know him well. Outside of the boos that come whenever Gary Bettman speaks, and the inevitable boos that come on the Twitter machine when something like this is announced, this is deserved for Gary Bettman.
Oh, listen, he's accomplished a great deal as commissioner of the National Hockey League. There's no doubt about that. When you think about the business side of this game, the quality of hockey, how it has morphed into a much faster, less physical game, I think that more people would find entertaining now than in previous times. I mean, Gary Bettman and the people around him, the people he's hired, has done an exemplary job. I do think, and I didn't hear your interview with Gary, but I do think that the issue of why now for Bettman is a fair question. And players have to wait 3 years. Ever since the Wayne Gretzky, we're going to put you in like this, they changed the rules and said no one else can be inducted automatically. So why not the same for the commissioner? For an acting, and why not wait 3 years after Bettman is retired to put him in the Hockey Hall of Fame? And I think that I think that's a reasonable question. Now, there's precedent for builders to go in when they're over the age of 50, or as in Gary's case, over the age of 60. But at the same time, I think that when the selection committee made this vote, they knew darn well this was going to polarize people.
Right.
Anything else on Gary?
Because here's why. Sorry. Martin Brodeur deserves his day in the sun. Martin St. Louis, Willie O'Ree, Jana Heffert, they all deserve their time.
But we're
talking Gary Bettman.
Right.
And I think Gary's embarrassed about that. I think Gary would be embarrassed about that because he does understand it's players first. He does understand that.
Right. It's interesting because when we had him on, and I know that you're doing other business when we had him on, he just seemed very, very happy. He was completely and utterly surprised. We asked if he knew if he was on the ballot. He didn't know he was on the ballot. No. This was a complete surprise to him.
Yeah.
And in fact, he was at a going away party for his vice president of communications,
Frank Brown. Yeah.
Frank Brown, who's moving on, and that's
Frank
how he
got big-footed on that party, man.
And that's how he found out. But you know, it's funny to me because I'm on the other side. I understand why this would be polarizing.
Oh yeah.
But you're sitting.
But he's polarizing.
Yeah, you're sitting for 25 years, and it sounds like, at least to me, the way he was talking, he's not going anywhere.
Oh no, no.
So when the hell are you going to do it?
Actually, his anniversary, his 25th anniversary, was February 1st of this year, right. And I wrote an article that I think he's got at least 8 good years. It's been reposted at sportsnet.ca. I think he's got 8 more good years in him. Yeah. I think he's got enough business to finish. I think we have to get through another collective bargaining cycle. I think we got another U.S. TV deal to come. About the same time that the contract in Canada, the Rogers deal, expires is probably the time that Bettman leaves. So and that's 9 years away. So.
There's 3 lockouts. I get it. I understand why people are pissed off.
There's lockouts in a lot of sports, though.
Yeah. Well,
not as many as hockey.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there were devastating ones in baseball.
But I also think that let's be honest, the NHL's business was more precarious than any of the 4 big sports.
Here's the thing. So we are sitting here marveling at how great a small market team like Nashville is doing in the last few years. Mm-hmm. It was almost out of town 3 times. Yeah. And Bettman's stubborn nature and his creativity in finding another owner kept the Nashville Predators there. The same thing in Tampa. The same thing in Dallas.
Same thing in Phoenix. Sorry.
The same thing in Arizona, yeah. Right. I mean, and at the same time, he got to the point where he couldn't take it anymore, and that's how Winnipeg got their team back.
Yeah.
So there are times, he's very easy to criticize. And he accepts that.
He had to hold his nose going back to Winnipeg, though.
Oh, I don't think so.
He held his nose.
I do not believe that, Sid. I do not believe that for one moment because Mark Chipman handled it perfectly.
I'm not saying Mark did anything wrong. I'm just saying from an ego standpoint. That was
one day, hold on. We'll settle this one. One day we'll have you on, and we're going to play you the news conference of when they returned.
I was there. Right. I was in the room. was also a brand new arena in Winnipeg, or a relatively new arena in Winnipeg that replaced the old barn out by Polo Park. You know, I mean, I think that he realized at that point it was the right thing to do for one of those, what was it, I guess 30 teams at that point. But I think he's done a lot more good for the game and for the players, obviously for the owners, than he has done bad. Right. And you know, the problem is that and he's going to get mad at me when I say it, but he's not a lovable guy. Right. He's just not lovable. Right. You know, I mean, David Stern had an air about him. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously over the years, other commissioners in other leagues have had similar personalities to Gary's. Right. But David Stern, who he learned from the most, had this aura that Gary doesn't have near at the same level.